In what way does this story relate to what's going on now? And I would say that in times of crisis, we look to our faith and we look to our narratives. When we're in crisis, when we're in danger, we look to our stories, the stories of our histories, the stories of our people, the stories of our past, present, and futures to move us forward and to find strength. That's where we go, always, to who we are, what we've been through, what our stories are. So this is a story, and this is a story that's really untold in African-American and African-Canadian history, the story of those who lost in the Revolutionary War, the 3,000 or so African-Americans who served the British on the losing side of this war, who were recorded in this historic document, which I've seen in the New York Public Library and in Colonial Williamsburg, called the Book of Negroes. They migrate to Canada, most of them voluntarily. Of course, the British are happy to free the slaves of the Americans, but they keep their own slaves, thank you very much, and take them with them enslaved to Canada. So we find slavery and freedom coexisting in Canada. It's a very, as you say, Michaela, a very complex narrative, and I'm interested in the complexity of it, and that's, of course, the beauty of this story. After 10 years of slavery and segregation and indentured servitude in Canada, these same loyalists leave Canada, former African Americans who've become African Canadians, and they cross the Atlantic to form the colony of Freetown in Sierra Leone, the first back to Africa migration in the history of the world from the shores of Halifax, Nova Scotia in 1792. So it's an amazing story, and of course many of these migrants who are going to Africa are actually going back to the continent in which they were born, and they're returning home in their same lifetimes. Really an untold narrative. So why?
So this is the first major migration back to Africa.
This is the first time. This is 100 years before Marcus Garvey's talking about the Back to Africa doctrine. It's decades before the Americans formed the colony of Liberia in West Africa. This is the first back to Africa migration in the history of the Americas. And it's 1,200 black men and women who were former African Americans, who are now African Canadians, who are going to create Freetown in Sierra Leone. And they're still known to this day, their descendants as the Nova Scotians.